Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. That's fantastic news here. And that is Donald Trump called Vladimir Putin and they spoke about Ukraine. Putin has no reasons to negotiate since Russia is winning, isn't it? Well, that's according to Associated Press. So let's start with the first article claiming that comes from the Ukrainian sources, but they mention New York Post. Ukrainska Pravda. Trump discusses Ukraine war in phone call with Putin. New York Post says. This is Sunday, February 9th, 2025. Excellent. Don't you think that's excellent news? There you go. All right, let's see what these guys claim. So US President Donald Trump has said, Trump said he spoke by phone with Russian leader Vladimir Putin in an attempt to negotiate an end to the war in Ukraine. So, when asked how many times he spoke to Putin, Trump replied, "I'd better not say." Ooh, you keep us all in suspense. In addition, the interview says that Trump believes that Putin does care about deaths on the battlefield. And I'm quoting, Putin wants to see people stop dying. All those dead people, young, beautiful people, they are like your kids, 2 million of them, and for no reason. Why don't you ask your banking system and your military industrial complex and your energy industry and see the reason. Trump said a 3-year war would never have happened if he had been president in 2025. And this is what he says. I always had a good relationship with Putin. Good. Biden was an embarrassment to our nation, a complete embarrassment. So let's see. It doesn't say anything here. It has no direct quote from Putin, from Trump here that he spoke with or he called Putin. But the title is Trump discusses Ukraine war in phone call with Putin. New York Post says. I didn't find anything here saying that he spoke with him. Anyway, let's go to the next one. This is again according to Kremlin Pravda. The Kremlin says it can neither confirm or deny Trump-Putin conversation. And here are the guys. So Dmitry Peskov, the spokesman for Russian ruler, he's a ruler, he's not an elected official like ours or like Zelensky. Vladimir Putin has stated that he can neither confirm nor deny a statement by US President Donald Trump in an interview with the New York Post that he had had a phone call with Putin. Let's see what they say. And I'm quoting, as the administration in Washington rolls out, numerous communications are taking place through various channels. Naturally, given the volume of these communications, I may not be aware of everything. Therefore, I'm unable to either confirm or deny it in this case. Well, you, Peskov, will know exactly if your boss, which is obviously Putin, spoke with the other president. I think you would be informed. Now, prior to that, Trump stated in an interview with the New York Post that he had spoken by phone with Russian leader Vladimir Putin in an attempt to negotiate an end to the war in Ukraine. I don't see any direct quotations here or quotes. Do you see anything here? No. Let's go and see what the Russians are saying. The Kremlin tight-lipped on claims of Putin-Trump contacts. Russia Today, 9th of February. Russia and US use multiple channels to maintain contacts, spokesman Dmitry Peskov has said. You should know if they use the phone. The same cannot confirm on Saturday. Again, the New York Post released an interview with Trump in which the US leader claimed that he had a phone conversation with Putin. Where is that? Let's see. Trump reportedly claimed the Russian president wants to see people stop dying. He added that he had a concrete plan for ending the hostilities, also without providing details. Well, don't you think that he would say, well, on my phone call with him? I mean, that could be a lot of things like, I think people in Denmark, I know, like ice cream. I think they like ice cream. That's an assessment, that's an opinion. Okay, and someone would ask me, how do you know that? Well, I don't know, I read a study about it. Where I spoke, I don't know, with the prime minister of this or that lawmaker of something. I don't see anything here that says that Trump had the conversation, said, yes, man, this is what I said. I talked with him. Maybe they were asked, did you speak with him? Did you speak with him? I would say, yes, no, I can't tell you. He's too vague. But hey, let's see. Let's see. There is some smoke because there's a little fire over there. Trump claims he had spoken to Putin about Ukraine. Media. Again, let's see where this is. Maybe they give us some details, and this is what they give us. When asked how many times he had been in contact with Putin, since when? This is a very important thing. In the first Trump administration, was it in between, now? I mean, how many times? I'd better not say. The US president told the paper that he believed his counterpart, believed, wanted a cessation of hostilities. He wants to see people stop dying. All those dead people, young, beautiful, blah, 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 blah. He wants. Is that your assessment? I mean, again, I have a lot of opinions. But let's see. According to the New York Post, he delivered the remarks while accompanied by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. While addressing him, he noted, let's get these meetings going. They want to meet. Every day people are dying, the report said. Again, good relationship with that. I'm sorry, I don't see anything saying that. I don't see, I'm not saying it's not true, but I don't have any evidence that it's clear saying the question, I don't know the question, they never say that if the question was related to this administration. Like, let's say they tell me, I'm in an interview, how many times have you been to Germany? Well, I better not say. Well, I've been to Germany many times, but when exactly? Because it matters if I was yesterday, or I was 2 years ago, if I was 20 years ago. But they don't do it like that. I can say, well, I went many times, but have I been in the past, I don't know, 2 months or 1 month since I'm in power? The conversation is not like that. The question was not done like that. And he's not saying, well, I had a phone conversation with him. Where in all that it says they had a conversation? Where? And the title was, Trump claims he has spoken to Putin. Maybe they spoke. Very good. Let's go to the essence. Let's say they spoke. That's fantastic. The Kremlin doesn't do anything because they don't do media diplomacy or something bizarre diplomacy. The Russians are not coming out and, they're still diplomatic, and they try to use certain channels, diplomatic channels, to solve problems. These guys are all colors, lights, and interviews, and glitzery, and so on. And let's see what Associated Press has to say about Putin's willingness to negotiate. As I said, and I mentioned, I think rightfully, Putin has no reason to negotiate unless that's on his terms. As I said many times, we like peace as long as it's done on my terms. And you like peace as long as it's done on your terms. So let's see, new voice of Ukraine. Putin has little reason to negotiate on Ukraine. Associated Press report. This is again February 9th, 2025. And this is the bad dude. Russian President Vladimir Putin is closer than ever to achieving his goals in Ukraine. You see this? I thought they were losing all the time. In Ukraine, they have goals? Oh, I thought it was unprovoked and how's that? Undefendable, something. Giving him little incentive to negotiate. That's correct. Western experts told, they're experts, the ones that told us that if US will impose sanctions on Russia, the Russian economy will crumble, the ruble will disintegrate, and these guys were going to go and visit the Kremlin with pitchforks and with torches. Nothing happened. The same experts, I wonder, if there's the same, why didn't they get fired? I want them to get fired right now, yesterday. Why? That's your job. You can't make mistakes. Remember, these things are like, are they going to attack or they're not going to attack? That's 50-50. It's 1 in 2 odds. That's it. And they're like, it's going to collapse or it's not going to collapse. It's 50-50. It's easy. Or those guys work for some people and they say what they're supposed to say, or they're just baboon, or, sometimes both. So again, the experts, despite external pressures, including from a former US President Donald Trump, what's the pressure from this guy? I want to know. What is the US President's pressure? Are you going to send military Americans to fight in Ukraine? What other sanctions are you going to slap on Ukraine? Putin has few motivations to sit down for peace talks, according to analysts interviewed by Associated Press. So from the very beginning, Donald Trump has no pressure, cannot put pressure on the Russians as of now. Yeah, it could make things a little bit worse, but still, they make it look like, oh, everything stays on this guy whenever this guy decides. No, you're not the prima donna. You're not the guy who decides. You can help, but with you, without you, the Russians will go and will get what they unprovokedly wanted. Unfortunately, Trump's initial approach towards Putin has included calling him smart. Well, I don't think he's a baboon, but nevertheless. So they warn about US weaknesses. They all have weaknesses. Russia has weaknesses, but as the Russians like to say it, the realities in the field, in the territory says that, well, we are not dead yet, and we are advancing. What are you going to do about it? You're going to go all in for those three interests, or which are, as I said, banking interests, military industrial complex, American mainly, and then the energy industry. Are you going to sacrifice the American people's lives? I don't think they care. I don't think they care at all, actually. Why? You can't name them. So you always going to be diverted to who's who, what's what by their media at every corner. The same here. You don't know who these guys are. What's their names? It's too many. And they are all portrayed as being nice. And they're investors. They're bankers. Banks are good. Have you heard banks are good? Well, why? Because they help you. The bank helps you slapping interest. Why? Because we have, how do you call it, inflation. And not only. Really? And who creates inflation? Oh, it's too complicated. Let's stop dumping money on an economy and see how inflation diminishes greatly. Nevertheless, here it is. Great. If they spoke, that's fantastic news. That's fantastic news. We'll see what the outcome of these negotiations will come. And I hope they meet. They are allowed to meet. Good. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.